That was the best acting I've ever seen in my whole life.
Method acting might seem like a perfect way for an actor to get into their role because they're not just performing a character, they're becoming a character. However, striving for perfection and becoming another person can be mentally and physically exhausting.
Thank you, Judge. And may you rot in hell!
From becoming a cat to acting mentally ill, some actors have admitted to pushing themselves too far. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix has admitted to testing his mental health while preparing for his role as the Joker. He lost over 50 pounds for the role and couldn't socialize or watch television because food was too tempting. He confessed that losing this much weight can drive a person mad. He definitely felt the isolation of not being able to go out and enjoy time with others. Phoenix wrote in Arthur's journal himself in preparation for playing the character, which means that all those crazy scribbles we see in the film are due to how he interpreted Arthur's thoughts and sense of humor. Speaking of humor, Phoenix had to master the Joker's iconic laugh, which he has described as almost painful. It took a lot of practice from Phoenix and input from director Todd Phillips to create a laugh distinct enough for the role. But this isn't Phoenix's first stint at method acting. When he played Johnny Cash in Walk the Line, he went to rock and roll boot camp and learned to play the guitar. He even made everyone refer to him as Cash when the cameras were off.
Thank you very much.
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift doesn't have that many acting credits under her belt, but she went all out to star in the film's adaptation of the musical Cats. To become her character, Bombalurina, Swift had to attend cat school. Her and her co-stars had to learn to move, act, and carry themselves like cats, which Swift immediately took a liking to because of her own love for felines. She has 3 of them at home. Swift attended the cat school for 4 months, even though she was asked to attend for only 3 days. Swift and the cast also did their singing and dancing completely live for the film, which she says her recent Reputation tour prepared her for. And preparation didn't stop at work. While Taylor Swift's cats were inspiration for Rebel Wilson's character, Swift had to do research on other breeds of cats like Bengals to play Bombalurina, who is described as athletic and feral, unlike Swift's own lazy felines. Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway has likened the diet she went on to portray Fantine in Les Miserables to starvation. She lost a rumored 25 pounds for the role by only eating 2 thin squares of dried oatmeal paste per day for 2 weeks, which is an incredibly quick weight loss. Hathaway also went so far as to cut out her own hair in a scene rather than using a wig or any special effects. She has admitted the role, which she won an Oscar for in 2013, did not make her happy and instead derailed her career after it started a wave of negative press associated with how serious she was taking the part. Even winning the Oscar didn't make Hathaway happy because winning an award for portraying Fantine's pain made her feel too privileged. She has admitted to feeling mentally and physically exhausted by the role and likely won't attempt method acting to this degree anytime soon. Christian Bale. Christian Bale lost 70 pounds to play race car driver Ken Miles in Ford vs. Ferrari, which isn't surprising given the actor's tendency to undergo huge transformations for movie roles. Bale's diet in preparation for the role was only water, an apple, and 1 cup of coffee per day. Not a lot of footage exists of Miles, so Bale had to do a lot of work to develop a charisma that could represent the driver. He developed a signature, confident walk for the role and perfected Miles' Birmingham accent. Though he did the work for this role and became Ken Miles, this is actually less method than we are used to for Bale. He gained 40 pounds of body fat to play Dick Cheney in Vice, gained a huge amount of muscle mass for films like Batman and American Psycho, and lost over 60 pounds for his part in The Machinist, which even resulted in him losing muscle elasticity. Bale has admitted to doing a lot of research and preparation for each of his characters, but when he gets on set, he often wings it, using all of his prep work to feel out the part and become the role. Losing himself in the character can become exhausting, just as how his physical transformation takes a toll on his health. Bale says he will likely stop undergoing such big weight fluctuations to take care of his body.
44.
Someone call an ambulance!
Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson's character in The Lighthouse underwent a slow descent into insanity, which Pattinson performed by doing things like consuming alcohol on set and actually licking a muddy floor to make the scenes as realistic as possible. He describes the role as having no limits, which allowed him to get as crazy as he needed to. The Lighthouse, which also filmed on location in small-town Nova Scotia, which made Pattinson feel almost as isolated as his character in the film. But Pattinson rejects the concept of method acting and says he won't bring it home with him. When the cameras are off, he's finished acting, but his performance on set definitely toes the line between pretending and becoming a character. So while Pattinson didn't act like his character off-set, he used the isolation and alcohol to enhance his performance and make himself feel like he really was going crazy while filming. Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez became a criminal for her role in Hustlers. Lopez plays Ramona, a stripper who tricks men to steal their money. But no matter how different Lopez and Ramona are, J.Lo says that she spent time researching and developing empathy and understanding for the character and her choices. It wasn't just playing a criminal that was challenging. Lopez also practiced pole dancing with an instructor to make sure she had all the moves down perfectly. She even had a pole installed in each of her houses so that she could practice anywhere. And of course, she took a lot of advice from co-star and real-life stripper Cardi B. All of this pole dance training was on top of the physical training she did 3 to 4 times a week for an hour each time to keep her muscles strong and her body prepared for the role. Lopez says that at 50 years old, a lot of training is needed to keep herself flexible and fit. Though it was hard on her body, her dancing and stage performances helped her prepare and develop stamina for the role.
A little bit. There you go. Yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio portrayed old Hollywood star Rick Dalton in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Director Quentin Tarantino wanted to make sure that the sets were accurate to the 60s, which included artifacts, art, and cars that would have existed during that time. Being surrounded by the 60s helped DiCaprio take on his role as Dalton. In this film, DiCaprio plays a character he describes as close to home, because Dalton is also an actor who has career ups and downs. DiCaprio used this personal experience when he came up with the idea for Dalton to freak out in his trailer after he messes up his lines. This is not the first time DiCaprio has went to the extreme for a role. For his Oscar-winning role in The Revenant, he actually ate a bison heart and crawled into the belly of a deceased animal. He practiced for this role by pushing himself to hypothermia and eating raw meat even when he wasn't on set. While the role called for a lot of gruesome acts on his part, he did win an Oscar for it and seems to think that it was totally worth it. Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie had a fairly small role as Sharon Tate in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but that doesn't mean she didn't work hard to capture Tate's likeness. Robbie says that going dark is easier for her, which is apparent in her portrayal of Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. To play Tate, Robbie worked with a movement coach who told her to act as light as a cloud. This helped perfect the way Tate would walk, dance, and smile. Robbie also had to constantly think about things that made her happy in order to capture the ease by which the actor lived. Robbie went so far as to avoid stress by any means, which included ignoring her emails for at least 24 hours before she had to film. This isn't the first role that Robbie has went to the extremes to capture. In her first major movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, the actress had to drink 3 shots of tequila to get over her nerves and gain confidence for her love scene with Leonardo DiCaprio. Shia LaBeouf. For his role in Lawless, Shia LaBeouf drank on set to prepare himself to look and act like his character, Jack. LaBeouf drank moonshine before filming so that he could be convincingly drunk and haggard, but drinking wasn't the biggest extreme he went to on set. In fact, director John Hillcoat admitted that LaBeouf took it way too far when he scared co-star Mia Wasikowska by carving their names into her door. He also got into fights with co-star Tom Hardy. Hillcoat did not support LaBeouf's drinking on set or his conflict with his co-stars and had a hard time working with the actor. But even he can't deny that LaBeouf was so excited and so dedicated to his role. Even though LaBeouf has admitted to the role making him bloated, exhausted, and ill from all the drinking, he's still pretty happy with his performance.
What would your daddy know?
Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron's role as Eileen Wuornos in Monster is one of the most famous examples of method acting. For the role, Theron shaved her eyebrows, gained 30 pounds, wore false teeth, and perfected the gestures and accent of the famous criminal. Theron describes Wuornos as just a human being, which is how she was able to empathize with the character even though she didn't support her actions. Theron is transformed once again and almost unrecognizable in Bombshell as Megyn Kelly. Fortunately for Theron, the on-screen transformation she went through to become Kelly was done mostly with prosthetics. Do you think these actors did their characters justice by going to the extreme? Think method acting is a good choice, even if it's hard on the mental and physical health of the performers? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Taco for more.